So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast on what can only be described as just a bit of a meh night. Lost to Sheffield United. No one, I'm going to really call it, and I don't think many people saw it coming. One of those results that you have to kind of just scratch your head at. Flattish performance. Sheffield United took their one chance. We were poor for their goal, and it was just a nothing game. It just seems to be how we play midweek. All season really just seems to be how we're playing midweek all season. Paddy's here with me, as you can probably see him here if you're watching this on YouTube. But and we're going to get into the game. But I've just had an absolutely awful evening, which I'm going to talk to you about as well. But we're going to get into the game in a moment. But I do need to bring something. The game is getting worse. First of all, I need a haircut. Okay, I'm having a bit of a midlife breakdown here. I need a haircut, so that's something that needs to be done. I'm now actually on YouTube with toothpaste on my top. Okay, so if my mother is watching this, she's going to go nuts. Making it worse, and then to make it even worse. Again, you may have seen my tweet whereby I opened up a bag of taters, what we would call taters over here, because that's like the Irish brand of potato chips or crisps wherever you're watching. But I opened up a bag of these guys, Snacktastic crisps, and there was no flavoring on them, and I was horrified. It was just literally fried spuds. Now I know we're Irish. I know we probably should but I've enough fried spuds eaten in my time. I want a bit of cheese and onion on them. So
I'm just worried, Neil, that you have COVID. So be careful.
Well, we know, we've had the whole opening cans on the podcast. This is going to be a first. We're going to open up a bag of crisps. There we go. Bag of crisps open on the podcast. That's more like it.
All right. Well, at least we know you don't have COVID anyway. That's a start. Speaking of your night getting off to a bad start.
Oh, you're drinking Carling. Jesus.
I'm drinking Carling. And you know what? I'm quite fond of an old pint of Carling when I'm in the UK, because we don't get that over here. So to my surprise today, when I decided I'm going to have a few cans watching the matches, I tend to do as a treat. So there's 12 pack of cans for €10. And I thought, that's not bad at all. Until I discovered they're smaller than usual cans.
Yep. Well,
so anyway, I think given your crisp situation and my can situation, we were destined to lose tonight.
Absolutely, and even worse as well. Just coming onto the podcast, we had a fallen soldier, somebody who's been with me since day one of my podcasting career. Unfortunately, met their untimely demise today, and he is. It's just here. Oh, sorry. My the pop filter on my microphone finally died. It's been on its last legs for a while, but it served me well. And I hope the next one that comes along will be half as good. And if that pop filter could tell stories, I'll tell you something. It's heard a lot of podcasts in its time. But no, that's a bit of the mess out of the way. Try and bring a small bit of brevity to the podcast. Levity, I think, I suppose, is the word, to the podcast at the start. Because to be honest with you, that game doesn't fill any of us, I think, with any joy or any messing or any, or it doesn't raise anybody's hearts, I don't think. So, before we kind of get into it, just wasn't really our night tonight, Paddy, at all. Sure, it wasn't.
No, it was. You know what? Given the way our results have gone since the Man City game, either win-loss or win-draw all the way along. So we were probably a bit too presumptuous, and maybe the players were going out tonight that this was going to be a bit easier than we thought. It wasn't. You know, I'm sure we'll get into the nooks and crannies of it, but look, they beat us. We say the better team. We failed to make many chances. You know, I know we hit the post and whatever, but just people got to look at the statistics against Leeds at the weekend, and it's just completely role reversal. You know, near enough identically matched on the possession stats and that. But we come out with no points and they come out with 3, and that's the way it is. You score early, you put your backs to the wall, you grind it out, and that's what they did.
Absolutely, we've done it. Like we've done it umpteen times this season. You know, you just see that who scored graphic, but the amount of times we've won games and we've not conceded. We're very much predicated on not conceding goals. The goal that they got, before we get into it, actually, before they scored, I thought like we were well in control of the game. They had maybe about a 3 or 4 minute spell prior to that they'd passed the ball around. They got it down. David McGoldrick knows how to play football. You know, he's well able to play. We're used to watching him playing for Ireland, and he's been our only creative force for Ireland for the last 3 or 4 years as Didsy, and he's, you know, he's obviously packed it in for Ireland, but you know, he's never been one that's struggled to get around the field. He's always been good with the ball at his feet, but like, oof, like realistically, he gets that ball in the middle of midfield. He rakes a ball. In fairness, it was an absolute pinpoint perfect ball that he plays out to the right hand side. Yes,
It's the best pass I've ever seen him play.
Yeah,
well, I've seen enough of him.
Yeah, it was brilliant, but like all he does is just run in a straight line all the way through. He runs past McGinn. McGinn doesn't get turned at all. McGinn doesn't chase him at all. There was no covering from midfield there. It was like as if it was a case. I know El Mohammedi was supposed to be at the back post, and at the time before I saw the second replay, that's who I was fervently blaming. And yes, he does have blame. I'm not condoning his positioning completely, but El Mohammedi tucks in all the time. That's what he's been told to do. He did it against Leeds and did it against Leicester. I really have a big problem with not tracking the run, though. I'm sorry. From midfield, when someone runs from the middle of midfield and no one tracks him, and McGinn is there 10 yards outside the box, and he runs right past him. I think he might actually glance off him, but he doesn't do anything. There's no reaction.
McGinn didn't even flinch. He just looked exactly where he was going, and
it was.
I'm not too harsh on McGinn. I think there was a lot more could have been done out on that right hand side when the ball came across, and I'm ultimately Elmo was ball watching as well. He never looked to see where was there anyone arriving, and there was no look over the shoulder as you would as a fullback, and everybody knows that as a fullback you need to know where everyone on the pitch is. Especially the guys are supposed to be picking up. And it wasn't even him, it was Mings in front of him. Mings was just in front of him as well. Could have done a bit better. But I'm not going to be too harsh because I thought, in fairness, our defense in general was especially our 2 centre halves were fantastic. I don't think either of our fullbacks covered themselves in glory tonight, but Konza and Mings were absolutely immense. Konza especially, just I would be very surprised in 2 weeks' time if we don't see him named in an England squad because he is absolutely unbelievable at what he does.
Oh, even his first touch, he's just a good all-around footballer. You know, he's just a good all-around footballer. And yeah, look, it was a poor goal to concede. It was a really poor goal to concede. Just because of we just literally there's a canyon right down the middle of our team, and no one blocked it. If Douglas Luiz was in there, I don't think he blocks it either. Just a weakness. That's all it was. It was a temporary weakness in the team. They took their chance. So reminiscent of the Arsenal game. That was their one chance. They had nothing else really. Apart from that, just like when we scored against Arsenal after 90 seconds, we had nothing else after that really against Arsenal. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not downplaying the fact that this is a very shitty result. Like, excuse my language, but it's a bad result. You know. But I do want to temper it with some sort of context and perspective. They're not the worst team to play in the Premier League. I think 07 and 08 Derby County will have something to say to you about that, and even ourselves in 2016. it was it was one of those games that look, Villa are going to kick themselves all season. Like, there will be no worse result this season than that. And I think that's fair to say. What I mean by is, like, every single Villa player that you will ask them at the end of the season, if we don't get into a Champions League place, or if we don't get, not a Champions League place, into a European place, and if you were to get one of the Villa players, on their own for half an hour and say, "Hi, come here, what one would you like to have back?" I think that I'll say that game.
I think there's a few. In fairness, I think the performance about Leeds that we dwell on, and that Burnley defeat was probably worse. Like, for me, Sheffield United aren't a bad side. They've been a shadow of their former selves this season. They've bought badly. Brewster hasn't been the player that they thought they were bringing in. The goalkeeper, for once tonight, had a great game. Took the sting out of everything. Dropped to his knees and ultimately onto his face with the ball underneath him. Not an issue to him all day long. One flap was all he had all night, where he could have came and caught, and he just kind of punched it away or whatever. They didn't even show a replay because it was like, how many times can we pump the ball into the box and hope that he's going to drop the ball? He just didn't do it. I'm not too upset. I'm not upset at all about the result, because these are going to happen. And to be honest, when you look at what we've done since Christmas, it's nearly been a pattern. I don't think we've had a back-to-back win since Christmas. Yeah. And that's poor considering the games that we've played. We should easily been coming up with back-to-back wins. Having beaten Arsenal, to go out and do that to Brighton. We beat Southampton and then went and lost to West Ham. We beat Newcastle and then got destroyed by Burnley. Destroyed, maybe wrong word, but you know what I mean. They put 3 goals on us, which is poor. I don't think this is the worst performance of the season.
No.
I think we were blatantly missing our best player, our talisman. I think our attacking outlet was completely... I think that's why you saw so many balls pumped into the box. There was nobody willing to run at that second last defender, get to the byline, pull the ball back to somebody who's standing in the hole as such, ready to take a shot. Or we just didn't have that. And I was disappointed with Bertrand Traore, because that's where he needed to step up to the mark, and he didn't. He did very little. He did one piece of magic where I think he took 15 touches in the space of 3 seconds and then put the ball wide. But it was a lovely move. But that's about as close as we came to breaking them down in normal play without putting the ball in on top of them. It's just, it's one I'm quite happy to draw a line under. I don't think we'll be as bad at the weekend. I think there will be a lot of changes at the weekend. I think it needs to be mixed up and freshened up. Not wholesale as such, but especially in the midfield. I think it'll be different for Wolves.
Just to kind of come back to you on that, you feel it needs to be mixed up and freshened up, but 66% of our midfield is different. There's two.
What I mean, different than tonight is what I'm saying.
Different. All right. So like, it's not from the point of view whereby you feel that they were leggy or anything like that. No, just different tactics, just different horses.
Bereft of ideas, I thought tonight. To be honest,
cool. Yeah. I thought Ramsey didn't really get into it like he did against.
No, we struggled to get into the game, and in fairness, it wasn't for the lack of trying. No. McGinn the same, did quite well in certain aspects of the game, and then gave the ball away a few times. I thought Nakamba wasn't his normal self either.
Well, I think for Nakamba, I think the biggest thing was after they got their goal, and definitely after they went down to 10 men, it was a case of bringing him off, because he just was not needed. He was like
not needed, exactly.
He was like a ashtray on a motorbike at that stage, like it just he was great to have it, but not needed, at that stage. We didn't need to break down any of their attacks,
Yeah,
we didn't need to break down any of their attacks, but it is yeah, look, it's, and this isn't me having a crack. This isn't having a crack at Dean Smith either. Look, hindsight is 2020, and you know me, I'm a big fan of don't blow up the structure just for the sake of it. I'm a big fan of you go out there with a game plan, and at the end of the day, a good game plan lasts from minute 0 to minute 90, and you go through it. So but you have to be willing to change it as well. I think when we go behind. So you'll always hear me say that when we're trying to hold on to a lead, we will hold on to that lead. And if it means playing with the same 11 players and running them into the ground, I think I'm okay with that as long as we get the win at the end of the day, because there's a certain structure, there's a mentality into the game when you're trying to change the game, make the substitutions. And in fairness, we made 3 substitutions tonight, Paddy. We brought on Barkley, Davis, and Sanson. They got Sanson and Barkley got, 23, 24 minutes each. Talk to me about the 2 boys. Talk to me about their impact or lack thereof. Which do you think it was?
Probably the latter. Very little impact. It's hard at that stage of the game. They're down to 10 men. I thought the first substitution would have probably been Keenan Davis. Like, you may as well be hung for sheep as hung for lamb. If we're going to lose 2-0 or 3-0, I'm fine with that. But or if it wasn't Keenan Davis, change him on its own and put Barkley up there. So it was. I don't think that would have made a huge difference because they'd parked the bus at that stage. The crosses were coming in. They were dealing with them. I think that the glaringly obvious thing we were missing was Jack. Just to create that little something different, that little thing out of the normal, because I'd love to know how many, you can probably access that very quickly, but how many crosses did we put in? How many corners did we get? When's the last time we scored from a corner, Neil?
That's what I said.
I've all these questions in my head.
I texted you today. I said,
yeah.
Next time we score from a corner, I'm just going to open the podcast and I'm going to sing a full version of something like a song for it. I'm going to sing a song, a full lot of it. And this is my look. Save the receipts, guys. I'm going to do it next time we score from a corner. I'm going to open the podcast with me singing a song, because I think it's the safest bet in the world at the moment. We just don't do it.
I honestly can't remember the last time we scored from a corner.
No. Kansas scored.
Oh, sorry. Year. The last time we scored from a corner was against Sheffield United. Mings flicked it on the near post and Kansas scored at the back post, loop and header. That's probably the last time we scored from a corner. It's probably the only time we scored from a corner this season.
I seem to remember a goal from a corner, but yeah, it could be. To answer your question, right, Paddy, how many crosses did we have today? Have a guess. No, have a guess. Do you know what I'll do? I'll give you plus or minus 5.
I'm gonna go 30.
Higher.
40.
44 crosses. And that's not including 10 free kicks and 7 corners.
And the only one we got anything on was the one Watkins hit the post.
Hit the post switch, yeah. Which was good. Which is good work from Watkins. Which is good work.
Oh, great header. Yeah, and let it not be said, let's not forget that he's put in one hell of a shift as well tonight. Yeah. He was everywhere. He lost the ball at one stage on the edge of the box and won it back at left back. He's been absolutely immense. Yeah. And that's all you want from your striker. Like poor old Keenan, come on. I don't think that was the day for him tonight. I love Keenan Davis. I just think he's a good, honest player. Good, honest player, fantastic. Not saying he's the finished article yet. Look, he's 22. I don't care. Was it Ian Wright? Was a late bloomer? We have all these stories of late bloomers. I don't think Aston Villa have been in a position to do him the best service for his career, the way things have been at the moment. I think he could turn out to be maybe a Shola Ameobi or something like that, whereby maybe around 23, 24, he starts to use his strength and understand how to use his body and starts muscling him in. But he needs games in the lower leagues. I'm kind of, and look, I mean this in the best way possible. I'm kind of counting down the days until Wesley's back, just so that we can have maybe an actual potential threat that comes off the bench in that aspect, to have something for a game like this. As I say, Keenan Davis, I'm not saying we get rid of him. I'm saying that, for the kid's development, it hasn't been the ideal development for him over the last 3 or 4 years. And I don't think anybody will agree. Yes, we can all sit here and say, look, he just doesn't have it. Doesn't have the striker's instinct. He just doesn't have it. Yeah, maybe he doesn't. But the kid hasn't had the chance to develop, and I'll stand over that all day long. But I'll tell you what he does have. He has something going on in training and on the training ground, because they've given him the contract. So we
Yeah.
can't really argue with what they've done in the past with bringing players through and stuff like that. So they obviously see something that's there. And let's be honest, you know, he has the physique and the build to play as a lone striker and bring players into the game. We've seen him hold the ball up well, but tonight was never going to be a night that he got the ball into his feet. It was just way too congested, and he would have had to play a whole lot deeper in order to get the ball into the feet. So,
Absolutely,
I think it's just it's unlucky that it was him tonight. That, you know, I don't mean to have a go at him, because as you say, I think there's a good bit of learning there to do. You know, he's not the fastest striker in the world, so you can't drop him forward and expect him to run with the ball. He's going to hold it up. He's going to bring other players into play. And, you know, he probably would have performed a whole lot differently if Jack was in there giving him ball to feet. And we'll never know. It's just, I'm not too downbeat on this. I'm really not. It's one that was, I'm not going to say it was coming. It was a possibility that could have happened tonight. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we have this. Look, we have this in our locker to throw in a performance like this. And guys, do you know what? Look, I suppose I had said before this that I wasn't going to get too animated or have too much to say. I was going to let you do a lot of the talking. But we have this in our locker, and look, we're not I hate, actually. I don't even want to say it, but we're not the finished article that we're going to have this erratic form as the season goes on, and next season, you know, we might iron out these crazy losses that we possibly shouldn't have, you know. So yeah, like you said, I'm not too annoyed over this. I was going to try and make a comparison between Keenan Davis and Didier Drogba, by looking at some. I just have brought up two statistical pieces there, and as I say, we're not digging out the guy at all. But no, I was going to say that Didier Drogba didn't really make it until he was 24 or 25. And Keenan Davis has only just gone 23. So we do have time. Okay.
Of course we do. Look at Jamie Vardy.
Absolutely. Jamie Vardy. Yeah. Well, if Keenan Davis could turn to the Drogba, well then, you know, there's great kudos due to the coaching staff. But, and I mean that, look, I'm not having a crack at him. I'm not making light of him. I was just trying to, I suppose I was looking, I knew the Drogba was a late bloomer. I was just trying to make, I suppose, a connection between that and Keenan Davis. But look, he needs time. He needs to get a run of games and a run of goals and see what happens with him, you know, for his own career more so than anything to do with Aston Villa. But yeah, look, that's Keenan Davis. Do you know what? I'm going to talk to you about Sanson, Morgan Sanson. We've spoken about him an awful lot. Well, we've spoken about wanting to see him maybe an awful lot. Yeah, he got 23 or 4 minutes tonight. What do you make of him? Because I didn't think he wanted it. I didn't think he showed for the ball an awful lot tonight. And once again, not taking him out, just calling what I saw in 24 minutes. I thought he was the least effectual
of our... okay. Yeah.
I just don't think he did anything.
Well, he saw enough of the ball. I'd love to know how many touches he had or how many passes he made. I'm sure you can put your finger on that.
17 passes. Neil. Yeah, 17 passes.
Which isn't bad considering we got everything out of the wing to fire across in. I saw Dean Smith after the game complaining about getting the ball into the box the way we did. To me, it was like, sorry, Dean, you need to sort that out on the sideline if that's the way it's going. Look, I'm not gonna dig him out either because I think it's particularly unfair. I think Morgan Sanson needs to start the game. I was hoping he would start tonight. I thought tonight would have been the perfect game for him. And I don't think we're going to see how good he is until he starts and he gets a couple of games in the...
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you know what? There's a lot of people talking about the fact that we bought him 6 months early because we got such a good deal.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have left him there for the 6 months. Maybe this is his learning curve coming in and getting cameos here and there. I don't see anything to be pissed off about in what he does.
No.
He gets himself around the pitch. His first touch is good. His passing is okay. I don't recall him giving the ball away at any stage. All you can do is look at where he is when the ball has been passed, and you can't look at him all the time because you're looking at who he's going to pass to.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. Yeah.
To me, he spent a lot of time out on the right, I should say, and I don't think Bertie utilised him enough. I thought Bertie was poor in the second half. I thought he overdone it a little bit a few times. McGinn as well in the second half. I thought particularly could have done a lot more. El Ghazi went missing in the second half. There's a lot more we can talk about other than digging out Morgan Sand. Not digging out, but you know what I mean. But focusing on him.
Yeah,
But
I'll be honest
I
with you,
think like
Paddy. I was bringing up that was me trying to be BBC Match of the Day presenter to bring up something and maybe try and make something out of it, because there was nothing there was nothing really in it. As I say, he got 20 touches of the ball, as I say, whatever, 17 passes or something along those lines, but the team was ineffectual at that stage. You know, we were just
it was,
lumping
yeah,
balls into the
yeah,
box. I
yeah.
think that I like there was, and in fairness to McGinn, he tried it a couple of times, and I know it can be a bit infuriating. But when that ball drops to him at the edge of the area, and maybe he's 30 yards out, sometimes just having a crack, he could go in Paul Scholes style off someone's toe and
Mm.
hit the roof of the net. You know, it's worth having a goal like that as opposed to just trying the same thing over and over and over and over again. And he was guilty of some poor crossing. And look, it was frustrating, but like you look at some of the stats we had tonight. We struggled to break the team down without Matty Cash on the right hand side. And if Matty Cash is there, I'm going to make a statement and say we don't concede that goal. And I've no way of proving it. And if we have Jack Grealish there, we could win a penalty. We could do anything like, and we haven't even discussed about the potential penalty in this game as well. And do you know what? To be honest with you, it was a penalty, but there's no point in going over the old ground on it. You know, we should have beaten this
No,
team. We should have beaten this team.
but the
Without
funny thing about the
that,
penalty is, I reckon because everybody in the studio said it was a penalty, and the guys in VAR are looking obviously at the coverage and go, okay, when the red card comes around, they give the red card.
yeah,
And you know, I hate digging out referees, but your man was poor again tonight. He was a yellow pack referee. It was just he didn't cut it for me.
a yellow pack referee for everybody over in the UK.
They
That's
should
an
know.
old one.
Anyone of our
God,
generation should know what a yellow pack is.
I barely know what that is. I barely remember what yellow pack stuff was. Yellow pack, it was like a type of soup in Tesco. It was a Tesco brand soup. All the Tesco brand stuff
Yeah,
was yellow pack, wasn't it? Isn't that what it
yeah.
was? Jesus, I barely remember that now.
So basically, a yellow pack referee is a cheap substitute for, and
Economical.
you know, I thought he was poor. I thought the guy of the weekend was poor as well. We just that decision. If VAR and let's not, you know, if VAR call him over to look at the penalty situation, I reckon he gives the penalty because the contact is on the body, not on the shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, it's a definite penalty.
Now,
Oh,
the question you got to ask is, did
Is
it
it in the
forcefully
box?
start outside the
Yeah,
box?
yeah.
But I personally think they even things up by sending Jagielka off. By the letter of the law, yeah, I'm on the fence about it, 50-50. But personally, I think they just even things up by sending him off. And, you know, I thought Peter Walton was fairly straightforward. And yes, it was a red card, but I don't know. I think he was too far out. I think there was enough space there to make mistakes. And Chris Wilder, there was no need for it. Gave a little dig after the match about us getting decisions against them. I thought the red card earlier in the season was more of a red card because he was pulling and dragging out of Ollie Watkins.
The red card at the start of the
And he
season
was the
a red
last
card.
man. So there was no reason to bring up that those decisions other than bitterness. So sorry, Mr. Wilder. I think on the last podcast we said that, you know, you were an admirable guy. There was fucking no need for that tonight. It was just stupid.
I didn't even listen to it, to be honest with you. Manager said things. Look, he's happy, he's defiant. A win like
Oh,
that.
he is. But if you're
that could
happy,
keep him his job.
no need to
Like, if
bring
he-
up that stuff.
Look,
Yeah.
for me, doesn't make blind bit of
Yeah.
difference to me. The reason being is he's manager under pressure. You know, no matter, like, there's stuff going on in the background at Sheffield United as well, with regards to ownership and all that. As far as I'm aware, there is anyway. He could be in danger of his job. He's done a fantastic job with the club. As far as I know, he's his hometown club, and, you know, 2 or 3 wins at the end of the season could allow him maybe to bring him back up from the championship again next year. So look, pressure.
I don't think there's any
pressure
pressure there. I think he's there for the long haul, no matter what happens.
I
They're
don't
not going
know.
to attract any other better manager than him. He'll be fine. He'll be still there trying to get them up next year.
Paddy,
Unless they
you
fall
know that,
apart.
and I know that. But if there's a foreign owner, if there's a new owner in the background, or there's a new investor in the background, they might know that. That's the thing.
What are they going to do? Bring the
victims
likes of
before.
Roberto Di Matteo to try and get a team out of the championship. We all know it doesn't work.
Yeah. But didn't he win? Yeah. No. Okay. Right.
Might try and bring Steve Bruce.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Moving swiftly along. I want to have a little quick, and I don't want to single him out, but we've said Matty Targett's been fantastic all year. I saw some passes that were very uncharacteristic of 2021 Matty Targett today, or 2020, 2021 Matty Targett today. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because usually in a game like this, first person I would go to for Laker Sports Man a match would be somebody like Matty Targett. But I literally, he couldn't be my go-to guy today. A couple of missed passes and stuff like that. But look, it was a down night for a lot of people. So I don't blame him. But I'm looking around. I'm trying to find a man of the match tonight from that team. And
it's easy. It's easy.
Kanza.
Ezri Konsa. Yeah.
Ezri Konsa, man of the match. Yeah.
And just going back to what you were talking about, Matty Targett. Of all of them, I thought he was the only one that looked leggy. He didn't look his normal self. His passing was off. His crossing was off. He just looked like he was tired. Could be way off the mark, but look, there's nothing we can do about it now. The main thing is how do we regroup for Saturday, which is it's just going to come so quickly now. By the time they go into recovery tomorrow, do a bit of work on Friday, and they're back in Saturday. So it's tough. Like it's a tough run of games now.
It is.
We'll get a break next week, and then we'll have an international break in a couple of weeks' time. And to be honest, that's not coming soon enough, because we just need to get a little bit more energy into the team. And I think a couple of weeks break might do that.
I think that's fair enough. We've